Hello, everyone. Good Friday evening. How are you? Welcome to the first Friday night edition. From next week, I'll actually be preparing to do the inaugural show on late night in the. So, hold on one second. Okay, I still have to figure out the audio on this, but that's okay. It's working just fine. So, let me see here. Okay, just a few little technical problems, but those all get worked out in their own way. So we're doing good. Let me do. There we go. I just want to make sure. So good. So now that I'm getting all the technical aspects of it worked out, and I hope that we're still live. We are. Hello, everyone. I can see that. All right, good. So, what are we going to talk about tonight? Well, I'm going to tell you what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about, are angels actually, do you think that they're aliens? Is there another species living on our planet, but actually inside the planet? And then could it really be that we are all living in a world of illusion? I don't know. I do know this, that something is amiss. And all I can say is this, and I'm trying to actually, let me do something here for a second. There we go. So, have you ever thought about secret societies? A number of years ago, Time magazine actually put out a book on secret societies, how long they've been around, um, part of their origins, how they have permeated all of society from records way back when. And everyone from the Freemasons, I mean, to the Skull and Bones, it's quite an eclectic group that we, for some reason, as a species, seem to think that there is knowledge that a select few get, and then they want to hide that knowledge. So we know they exist. We're going to talk more about them, but I want to talk about one secret society that you may have never heard about. And that is the Society of Vivril. Vivril. And this society was actually came into existence right before the Nazis took over. And there has always been the rumors that the Nazis were onto something. And we know that when both the Russians and the Allied forces, primarily the United States, went in, they apparently had already made a decision as to who was going to get what technology. And I want to read you something. Now, some of you will recognize where this comes from. Others, like myself until very recently, was unaware that this actually was out there. It says that Goethe, flying a swift and powerful aircraft, hurled a single projectile charged with all the power of the universe. An incandescent column of smoke and flame, as bright as 1,000 suns, arose in all its splendor, a perpendicular explosion with its billowing smoke clouds, The clouds of smoke rising after its first explosion formed into expanding round circles like the opening of giant parasols. It was an unknown weapon, an iron thunderbolt, a gigantic messenger of death, which reduced to ashes the entire race of the Vishnus and I think it's the Anahakas. The corpses were so burned as to be unrecognizable. The hair and nails fell out. Pottery broke without apparent cause, and the birds turned white. After a few hours, all foodstuff was infected. To escape from this fire, the soldiers threw themselves in steams to wash themselves and their equipment. Dense arrows of flame, like great shower, issued forth, encompassing the enemy. A thick gloom swiftly settled upon the host. All points of the compass were lost in darkness. Fierce winds began to blow upward, showering dust and gravel. Birds choked madly, and the very elements seemed disturbed. The earth shook, scorched by the terrible violent heat of this weapon. Elephants burst into flame and ran to and fro in a frenzy over a vast area. Other animals crumbled to the ground and died. From all points of the compass, the arrows of flames rained continuously and fiercely. Yeah, you're right. That is a description of a thermonuclear weapon going off. Only problem with it is that this was written somewhere between 540 and 300 BC. And it comes from the Vedic, excuse me. The Vedic clearly states that there was a society of men. We changed them to gods that possessed flying machines and obviously thermonuclear weapons. The Nazis were so they knew something. Now, as I continued to read this, Robert Oppenheimer, remember him? He was called the father of the atomic bomb. Well, come to find out about the man, he was brilliant, a genius. He was very much into the Vedic, but with a twist, with the Aryan Vedic, which has a lot of intermingling with the Hindu. He was never a follower in a devotional sense. He did take lessons in Sanskrit so he could better understand the Bhagavad Gita and its native tongue. His brother said that Oppenheimer found the Gita very easy and quite marvelous, and was really taken by the charm and general wisdom that the book provided. He studied it. Now, one of the students asked him after the atomic bomb had been invented, what did he think about it? And he corrected the student. He said, no, this is the first atomic weapon of the modern age. Okay. Now, let's go to King Tut. One of the things that have always been of interest was particularly the Egyptian antiquities, because they provide a history that has not been sanitized as much as the world has tried to. So here is the facts. When they found the young king's tomb, there was an amulet on his neck. And this pendant they found was glass. Now, they did fusion tracks to date the glass. The glass was found to be 28 million years old. Now, modern science has tried to say that the glass that is found, particularly between Libya and Egypt, was caused by an airburst meteorite. Well, there's no evidence for that. But the problem with the Libyan desert glass is that its composition. And the composition basically dispels that this was caused by a meteorite exploding like we've seen over in Russia. So this got Oppenheimer to begin to think about things like, well, is it possible that mankind has been here before? Because the record would say that apparently either mankind or an alien race possessed nuclear weapons. The story of Sodom and Gomorrah is a story of nuclear weapons. And it's been basically synthesized. Now, let me read you another one. This is from the book, The Wars of God and Men. It says, the hot vapor lapped around the Titans of the Gia born, flame unspeakable rose bright in the upper air. The flashing glare of the thunderstone, its lightning, blinded their eyes, so strong it was. Astounding heat seized chaos. It seemed as if the earth and the wide heavens above had come together. A mighty crash, as though earth was hurled to ruin. Also the winds brought rumbling earthquakes, dust storms, thunders, and lightnings. There are places everywhere that says that something is out of place here by timelines, by the geological record, and there apparently has been a great deal of effort to cover it up. The question is why? All right, so let's switch gears here. I'm going to show you how sometimes things are so much out in front of us that we don't even know. Now, this is a book I got a number of years ago. You may be able to still get it on Amazon. It's about all the military insignia patches that we use in the U.S. military industrial machine. I like this one. You can see, and I'll just show you, and you can see a lot of these are just amazing. There we go. And what I did, I just wanted to pull through here to show you how symbolism is replete. Now, when you see a couple of these, of course, we've never been to Mars. That was actually dealing with a secret stealth aircraft that still we don't know about today. Dragons and snakes play a big role in symbolism and patches. And any of you who've served in the military, thank you, by the way, but you know. Now, this one I really love. Basically, it says that humans taste like chicken. Of course, aliens don't exist. But there's so many divisions in the U.S. military. You want to talk about not having privacy? Now, I know a lot of you in here understand symbology. Okay. And then, talk about Revelations 12. Check that out. And the last one is I saved for the coup de grace. You see that, folks? Let that burn into you really good, because here's what that patch means. The patch means is associated with Caligula, first century Roman emperor whose name became synonymous with depravity, madness, cruelty, and tyranny. The patch translates, let them hate so long as they fear. You know, if they keep us hating each other, we'll never figure it out. Okay, so let's continue. What if, in fact, if you believe that angels exist, I've actually seen one. Now, was that a mass hypnosis? I don't know. Don't think so. Didn't feel like it. So, what if all of our religious beliefs were made up for us? Think about this. If there was and is an advanced species that has had dominion over this quadrant because of this planet, and that man, humanity, in its many different various renditions, is just that. Just part of the housing, furniture. And all of our religion, all of our religious beliefs have been implanted into our collective consciousness to divide us, basically to keep us running around in circles with each other. One religion comes in, another goes out. Because here's the thing that I keep asking myself. I've asked this a number of times. Show me any evidence of God, of any God, other than what has been written in supposed sacred books. I mean, that's the question I'm asking myself. There is no evidence. The only evidence that we have is that which we've created and have determined to believe. And I can tell you from my experience, where I come out of, the religion I came out, they took enormous, painstaking efforts to create it. And then, hear me out on this, to make sure that they burnt every book, every record that countered the belief. And the problem is, it's just not one particular religion. All of them, for the most part, have done it. When the Turks took over Constantinople and it became Istanbul, Constantinople was probably the equivalent to the Alexandrian Library. It was the repository of all the ancient knowledge, the alchemy, the sciences that we lack today. And the Turks threw it into the river, and as it was witnessed, it said the river flowed black for days. And that's what's happened. All of that knowledge accumulated over God knows how many millennia maybe epochs. I don't know. But it's clear that something isn't right. From the religion that I came out of, every generation was looking for signs. Every generation. And every generation had its signs that this was affirmation, confirmation of everything that they believed in. Because we so desperately want to validate that the existence of our life in a dedication to a belief is somehow vindicated and validated. But sadly, it would appear that is not the case. It would appear that everything you and I have ever believed in is nothing more than an illusion, designed that way. Now, there have been great movies built on that idea, and there appears to have good foundation for that. Now, the title of what we came in here, are angels real? Well, I know this. There's a lot of books written about them, a lot of books, and detailed. And I can't imagine that this would just be someone's delusion. So if angels are real, then you could go ahead and follow the breadcrumbs and say, well, if they weren't born of this earth, then they are, in fact, extraterrestrials, right? Those are aliens. I mean, I don't know. There have been those who have seen angels, those who have entertained angels unaware. When you do a critical analysis of this, just by the empirical evidence that is laid before us, you would have to say, well, they're obviously advanced. They obviously possess a knowledge we don't. They have the ability to manifest in multiple dimensions, multiple universes. They have superhuman strength. They can fly. They apparently also have flying ships. So have we just been brainwashed to call them angels, to have the illusionary screen before us, and that there are those secret societies that in fact know about this? Well, think about it. Now, I want to get back to the Nazis. And I know what you're thinking, Wayne, why in the world are you talking about the Nazis? Well, because I came across something that took me aback. I'm just going to read an expert here. This is talking about, founded in 1935, the Anna Brie was a scientific institute of the Third Reich dedicated to the researching of archaeological, linguistic, genetic, and cultural history and origins of civilizations during the Holocene, our current geological age. According to them, civilization stemmed from the Aryan survivors of the Ice Age. They conducted research experiments and later launched massive expeditions attempting to rediscover the lost links of Germanic people to their forgotten past and when the Aryan Nordic populations had once ruled the world. Its name came from the obscure German word Annabriere, which means inheritance from the forefathers. And I probably butchered that word in German, but hey. here's the deal. Bottom line of it is this. They knew something. And they also knew that we were about to go from one age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius. And folks, it has strong alchemy all over this. They knew this. They were making plans for this. And when you see how things have been set up, you think about the UN. Do you know that the United States is under treaty to the UN? Previous administration made that happen. The Nazis understood about cycles. They had done intense study on the Vedic, all ancient manuscripts, and they broke them down. Now, they firmly believed that the earth also revolves around the black sun of ancient myths. They actually mapped out its orbit. They actually mapped out, according to Plato's Great Year, what each month is. Each month is approximately 2,155 years. When you bring them all together, that completes what they call the cycle of the cosmic year, which takes 25,860 years to complete. Apparently, we completed that and have in fact entered into the new age. Which gets me back to the point of this discussion. It would appear that even through the advances that the Nazis did, do you know that they actually did have anti-gravitational machines? Just like what was written in the Vedic? They actually figured out the instructions and apparently made contact with whoever is really running the show here. And they were preparing for something. And that's why when we look at secret societies, like the Viral, how many others? You know, it's rumored that before any president is allowed to be president, he has to meet the initiation and be basically approved. Some said the Bilderbergs. I don't believe that. I think that there is yet a much more secret society than that. I think it's obvious. So I'm going to go and look into what's going on in the chat room. So 1 second. Let's see what's happening. Yeah. All right. I'm just looking at some of the comments. So how y'all doing? Well, thank you for everyone's in here. I can see that there's 81, 82 going back up and down. So what do you think? Do you think any of this actually has any credibility? I mean, I have other documents here that just talking about weather modification. Well, I think that if someone had the ability and the knowledge to basically defy the laws of gravity, I think that they could easily defy the weather. This was a great book I got at one time. I think you guys can see this. And in this book, in fact, let me see if I can do something here. And it says that they have been here all along, and they're actually the ones who actually control everything. Do you think that is possible? I'm beginning to believe it. Well, I think I probably have bored y'all enough. So I appreciate everyone coming on board and joining in. Let me see here. I want to get back to my normal screen. If I can do that. There we go. So I don't know. I think that there's strong foundation to this. I mean, all the religions can't be right. Can they? Is it, do you think, that I'm going to call them our masters? Because they certainly seem to be ruling the show. Is it to keep us away from understanding the collective consciousness? I mean, what George Norrie is doing on Coast to Coast AM, what Jeff is doing, there's many other channels, and I think it's wonderful. I think it tells me that the alarm has gone off and that our contribution to the collective consciousness is having that effect. We live in a cause and effect reality, if you can call this a reality. Maybe not. But in any case, with all of these weather anomalies coming in, I hope that we continue. We talked about the 100. Folks, we're up to 22 people. That's 22% of our goal. I think that's wonderful. In the next couple of days, I'll be sending out, I sent everyone out today that I had on the list, the email. I've gotten permission from all of you as well. So we're going to be sharing those emails with everyone, and then we'll start actually with our own. Now, my approach is this, is that I think it's great that we're coming together, and I believe that if enough people can actually get in tight on this, we can dissipate this storm. And that's what I see. But I also know the value of starting small, building successes. And that's what I envision for what we're going to be doing, because we can actually demonstrate it. So thank you for all that. I know up there I have 15, but I have to update that. And as you can see behind me, aliens, angels, secret societies. Is it all a lie? Are we all just living in this crazy illusion? I think that there is good foundation to it, because it all can't be wrong, but it also can't all be right. And you know, it's a pickle trying to figure out who's telling the truth here. Some say it will drive you mad. I don't know about that. I look at it as a challenge. And my feeling is this, folks. They've been jacking with us. I think it's time that we jack back. And let's get the collective consciousness growing. Let's get united. Let's get the hate out. Let's get the unity. I mean, we all can't like the same flavor of ice cream. I don't like pistachio. Yuck. I can tell you a little story. Used to, when I was working on building the pay at the table solution quite a few years ago, we were at the Hotel Motel show up in Chicago, and went by the Tabasco group. Yeah, the ones that make Tabasco sauce. They had Tabasco ice cream. Let me tell you the opinion of Tabasco ice cream. Well, if you need to throw up, that would be the thing I would have ate, because that's what it made me do. Seriously, it really did. It was terrible. But the point is that we can all come together. I think we're doing this. I love the energy of this group. It's just great. And next Friday, please join me over at Late Night in the Midlands. I will be having Rex Bear on, and I believe if our friend Jeff, and I am believing Jeff for you, I'm sending out thoughts, brother. Let's all get our thoughts around Jeff as well. Listen, I think that we could push this thing out, but I'm also the guy who's thinking that we got a good friend, Jeff Doherty, there. And I know there's others that have family down there as well. But Jeff, pulling for you, buddy. So we're going to keep him definitely in our thoughts. I think if we do the 11-11, I think that's what they're doing, and which I think is fabulous. Has great synergy, great energy on that. Let's also keep Jeff safe. I know he lives close to the water, and so, all right, folks, appreciate all of you. Have a great weekend. Learn to take a little bit of time, relax, get into yourself. If you have a significant other that is in tune with you, I read something this afternoon that is going to absolutely, it's something that you can't share, just lay it out there, because people will go, what? But I'm telling you, the evidence of what has been done here is phenomenal. And come to find out, when it comes to meditation techniques and visualization and combining all that and building the faith, because you have to have faith. That's what we all got. I think that's part of the spark of divinity in us. If angels do exist, they are aliens. But the question I have, do they have a soul? I mean, if they are in fact these mighty creatures. Now, I don't know. For all I know, everything that we read in the sacred books was written by man. Who knows? No one was alive. No one alive today that could ever validate it. So what if, in fact, that's their cover? That's the illusion that they give us, that they're angels. And so we interpret them as that as well. And the bad dudes, dudettes, I don't know. They get labeled the demons, the devil. And then we have the classic yin and yang, the struggle for balance. And we're just down here being devoted to our belief. I'm not saying that's the case, but I get the feeling more and more that it is the case. And if in fact we have entered into a new age, which we have, the Nazis wrote back in the early 30s that the earth would be going through, they called, a period of great turbulence. Now, how did they know? And I don't know about you, but what is not getting enough attention is what happened in Mexico. It was an 8.1 earthquake. Japan was only what was Japan? Was Japan a 9 point? So that was a significant one. And do you also know that according to the U.S. Geological Association, so much rain, the 34 trillion gallons that fell on the Texas Gulf Coast, has actually indented the earth by 2 centimeters. And then we've got a line of hurricanes stretching out in the Atlantic. And I don't know what else will be happening on the other side of the world, but that just seems to be a lot of stuff happening at the same time. Oh, and then Mexico's getting hit on the Gulf side by a hurricane, Category 2. Wow. So anyway, have a good weekend. I'm going to watch some football. I love college football. It's something that I take a lot of pleasure in. Happen to be a real fan of the SEC. So um, I'll probably be doing a show tomorrow. And then if Jeff is around, in which I believe he will be, and if he has power, I think that's going to be the big problem. He's got power. Hopefully, we'll do our Sunday show. But keep him uplifted in your thoughts and prayers. It's a good thing to do. He's a good man. All right, folks, I appreciate you all, and we will talk soon.